Hi, Mr. Wortman here. I'd like to take a few minutes to show you how you can use a program called Logger Pro to import video when you want to collect data, either describing the shape of an object or maybe even motion, and then use that data to generate a mathematical model. So let's get started. First thing you need to do is to either take a picture or a video. I want to focus this little video lesson on importing video. So I've taken a short clip here. And you want to make sure that your video is saved in MPEG format. Okay. So I've taken just a real short clip here of me dropping a few objects because I'm curious to see if I can describe the height of that object over time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all open the program, Logger Pro. I'm going to import that video. I'm going to insert movie. I navigate to the movie. I open it, okay, and it opens within the program. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to click this little button down here, and this little button does a video analysis for me. So when I click it, I'll get a full palette of different sort of tools here. The first tool that we want to use here is we want to set our scale. Okay, so if you just hover over those buttons, it'll tell you what each one does. So I want to choose that one. Now you'll notice that in the video I have a meter stick sort of prop here. And you should do the same because it's important that you're able to accurately measure length in your video. So this sort of standardizes things for me. So I'm just going to, okay. And then once you do that, a little dialog box will pop up here and it'll give you a choice of units and distance. So that's 1 meter, so I'm all good. The next thing I want to do is I want to navigate to the point in my video that I want to analyze, okay? So I'm going to go like this one right here, okay? And you want to go just a little bit beyond where the motion starts, okay? So, okay, this is pretty short, okay. And then you can just kind of edge a little bit there, okay? So you can see that in this case I'm using a roll of tape. It's just beginning to fall. So I'm going to back up there a little bit, okay? I just want to get just right to the frame right before I release it, so right there. So you can see my finger was still on the tape here, no longer on the tape. So I'm going to go back to that frame, okay? So that's going to start my motion. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little button here next to the video analysis button. And I'm going to set my graph time to start at 0, okay? Now what this has done is that actually within the entire clip, the motion starts 122.8 seconds from the beginning of the clip. But I want to actually start recording my time at that point. So this will enable me to do that. So I started at 0. I don't touch the 122.8. I click OK. And then next thing I want to do is I'm going to plot some points. It's important that you have this little button right here, the toggle trails button, selected. Okay, so there it's not selected, there it is. And then I'm going to choose this button right here, which is to add a point. And I'm going to add a point somewhere on the object. Now it doesn't really matter where I add that point, but as I progress through the frames in this little clip, I need to plot the points in the same location of the object. So I'm going to plot it at the very bottom of the tape roll, okay, so you can see there. And then normally what will happen is, and it actually did happen here, but you just didn't see it, is just that once you plot a point there, it'll advance a frame, okay? And then you can plot another point. So just that it so happened here at the very beginning of this motion, when it advanced that single frame, it didn't, the height of the tape didn't change very much. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to just use this fast forward button here a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to plot another point at the bottom of the tape roll. And then so you can see how it's automatically toggling for me, okay? And so I'm just going to allow it to do that, okay? And so you can get a really good feel here for the fact that the distance is increasing over the same time interval as time increases, okay? So this is about right there, about right there, there, and there, okay? Now I have to be careful here. I want to make sure that it hasn't already hit before I add another button because, or another point, because if it is already hit, then the motion is changing there, okay? So it looks like it's just hitting right there, so I can actually add another point, right? My last point will be right there, okay? Now, yeah, so it's hit right there, okay? So this is right before it hits. There it looks like it's hitting. I don't want to add that point just to be safe, okay? Because I really want to only get data while the object is in free fall. After it touches the surface, it's no longer in free fall. And I can't quite see, you know, exactly where it's touching right there. So just to be safe, I'll make that my very last point because I know it's still in free fall there, but there it is not necessarily. Okay, so once I get all of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my movie to the back, and I've got data here, okay? Now there's lots of data that's been collected here. You'll see, here you got the times, you've got the x, the distance in the x direction that the tape is displaced from the initial position, the distance above the ground, the velocity components for the x and the y, okay? And we're really only interested in here in the time and the distance above the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on the table and go to Table Options, okay? And I'm going to uncheck the quantities here that I'm not interested in, okay? So I really only want the y and the time, okay? So you can see here you got the time and the y, and you can go to graph options as well. And what you need to do now is uncheck the x, so keep the time and the y selected, okay? And so you can see down here you got the time, and here you have the height, okay? So we're all good. I'm going to just bring this over just a little bit here. Okay. And the next thing we want to do is we're going to analyze, and we're going to do a curve fit. Okay. So I'm going to choose, let's do a curve fit on the video analysis of the y coordinate. And what pops up here is just a little sort of snapshot of your graph. And if we try a linear model, which is the mx or the mt plus b in this case, and we try fit, you can see it's a reasonably good fit, but not great. Okay, we've got, you know, some points that are fairly far from the line, so that would be a very rough model there. If we try the quadratic model, you can see you get a much nicer fit. So we would suspect that this is actually a quadratic relationship. So what happens here is after I click on the try fit, I can see what the coefficients of A, B, and C are in that quadratic model. So I'm going to click OK, okay, and then you'll get a nice little graph here showing you what that model is. So let's conclude this then by typing in what that model will be, okay? So let's just do this, okay? So you can use your math type here. It's a little slow. So we're going to type in our model, which is the height at time t is given by -4.6 779 t squared plus 0.2141t plus 2.376. Okay. And there we have our model. Okay. And so I'm going to ask you some questions about this model on your worksheet, but you have that there for reference. Okay, that's it. Make sure, of course, you save your information here. So maybe you want to just call this approximating G. Maybe call it trial 1, because you might have some other video clips that you want to analyze. Maybe you can call those trial 2, 3, so on and so forth. Okay, that's it. I hope you found that to be helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.